Hi, how's everyone doing? This is Amy Hamilton, author of The Project Manager, Life is a Project, and The Consummate Communicator. I am here with Darla Avon. I have to say we had a bit of a technical difficulty, so we have a phone relay going on right now. Darla, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. I'm ready to jump in and do this. I've been watching you interview other authors, and it's been a joy.
Yeah, so we are doing 24 authors in 12 hours, and you got to expect some technical difficulties. We did a mic test and everything earlier, no problem, but life is what it is. But Darla wrote her book, Broken to Beautiful, and I think that's such an amazing title. And you write broken to beautiful, but you just look beautiful here. I don't see anything broken. And I think that one of the keys on this, though, is there's that what do we see on the outside and what do we feel on the inside. And I would love for you to share the inspiration for this book, Darla.
Absolutely. And now that you just say that, none of us are broken. We are broken. And I didn't know that at the time I'm writing my book. And why I felt so broken, and my intuition told me, and I had these nudges for years, to go share my message with the world. And I didn't know how to do it. I was stuck. And I'm like, who's going to listen to me? Like, my story doesn't matter. And I was scared. I was scared of fear and shame and judgment and all this stuff, that putting yourself out there can bring. And so what happened is I broke my neck in a car accident, and I lost my career in dentistry, and I was really lost for a long time. And I literally was kind of broken. My neck was, but my spirit wasn't. And I found myself that I stopped dreaming. I stopped dreaming in my life, and I was stuck. I just took the diagnosis that I was disabled, and I wouldn't practice dentistry anymore. So I just kind of let life decide my fate, and I just went along. I wasn't being an active participant in my own life anymore. And my wake-up call to write this book came a few years after that, because I was in the hospital again, and this time with pulmonary embolism. I was in ICU, and I overheard a nurse outside saying to another nurse, "She's not going to make it tonight, and I don't want to take her case." I'm like, I'm not dying. I didn't realize how sick I was, that I had all these blood clots in my lungs. And at that moment, I pled with God in my little room by myself, going, "Please, God, let me live. I will share my message with the world now. You let me live. Like, I get it. I've had the 2x4 up the head, and I didn't listen." And so I write about that too in my book. I don't go into details of the car accident and a lot of the stuff I've gone through in my life. However, I share about listening to that intuition. And I think another inspiration is that we're all far more powerful than we ever give ourselves credit for, right? No matter what your circumstance or situation, like, we all have adversity and crisis. And I had gone through a lot of crisis. And I don't like to even talk about it a lot because I'm not a victim. And I write about that in my book too, like going from crisis to clarity. I've had some child abuse. I've been with a partner that's an alcoholic, and domestic violence happened. I've had a son in prison, and all these things are just events. They did suck in the moment, but they're just events, and they didn't define me. And when I decided to get clear and draw a line in the sand and say no more and share my message with the world, my whole life changed. And so my book came about. I went through a lot of old journals, and I read old quotes, even as a little girl growing up, because I had some crisis in my life growing up, and I wrote about the quotes that spoke to me, or something I heard, or a tool I used to help keep me grounded, or a prayer, or whatever. I put those in my book. So that's kind of where the words in the book come from. So a lot about forgiveness, about faith, about shining your light, and trusting that intuition. So that's the basis of my inspiration.
Now, those things are also important, and when you look at where we are in the world right now, I think now more than ever, people need hope, they need inspiration, they need to know that they're not alone. And I think 2020 is kind of the year that it's going to change it for people, where even people who say, I don't go through adversity, I think COVID's kind of changed that. Working from home, most people ended up in those situations. The fact that just going to the grocery store, or more importantly, working at a grocery store, I mean, it's a completely different world than it was just back in February. And so what is your advice to people right now who are kind of going through these difficult situations?
Like we all have a choice, and we can choose how it affects us, and we can choose to have the worst thing that's happened to us in our life be our best thing that's happened to us in our life, and it's all around our mindset, right? And so I choose to look for the lesson and have gratitude, and that's helped me to stay out of that dark place and kind of shine a light and give hope when maybe there's so much darkness going on.
I think that's so important. And I'm going to share your website, Darla. And could you please tell everyone about your website and beyond the book or the rest of your message and what you're doing?
Okay, so my website is www.darlaevoninternational.com. And because of the book, I have gotten to speak now on a lot of stages. And so the book was just a tool. I didn't know this was going to happen when I wrote the book. I just wanted to get be a light in a dark world, right? And so now what's happened is I created a coaching business and a speaking business because of the book. And what I do is teach people how to dream again and not be a spectator in their life and be an active participant and to make that decision. And so I get this privilege now to go serve people, not just through the written word, but with clients on stages and in workshops. And I get to teach improvement tools so that they can live a life that they love and they can dream again. And it doesn't matter where you came from, we're all enough. And we all have this power breathing us within that's greater than anything any situation we've ever been through. So I may no longer be a dental hygienist. Now I call myself a spiritual hygienist. And you're right. When you first started this, you said, you're not broken. Like, and I think that's so good because I got on a stage probably 2 years ago, and I spoke in California, and a lady came up to me and she goes, "I saw you in this room," and she goes, "I just thought, oh, your life is all good and this and that." And then when you share your message, it gives other people permission to be okay with things they're going through in their life too. And so I think being authentic and vulnerable and being able to share, and for me, my greatest value in life is connections with others and just coming from the heart and just being real. Like, I wore masks, honestly, for a long time because I didn't want people to know who I was, right? And so I share that when I get on stage. It's like, there's no more masks. This is who I am. This is what happened. And I'm the broken, beautiful girl. I get to be an inspirational problem solver now. And my intention is for my words and my tools to be salve for the soul.
I think that's really just that concept that we're all perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
So powerful. And you just mentioned a really interesting concept during COVID, which is a lot of people don't want to wear the mask. And you had these masks and you took them off, but it's like both a metaphor and reality right now. And
absolutely.
In a way, I think that when you look at how people are, when they hide behind the internet to send out negativity, and you look at some of these aggression issues that's come out in the media, these masks kind of change what's going on for people. And, some people may wear like a virtual mask, but other people are in a situation where they, they have actual physical masks on.
Right. And I think it's just peeling back that layer. Like, we hide behind our virtual mask, if you will, of our shame and our guilt and our fear and maybe our regret, things we didn't do in our life that we wish we did, and now we think it's too late, I'm too old, I'm too this, and because of this I can't do this. And that's my passion, is to uncover that, because those layers of that onion back, peel their mask back, all of us have them, all of us do. And in the school of life, for me, I realize that we don't get to skip adversity class. We're all going to have it. You might not have broken your neck, you might not have you might not have certain things like that, but we all have adversity, right? And so we're all in this together. And when we join arms and look at it from that way, I think it's easier. Yeah, lower your mask. Maybe not drink forward.
So before, you were going around, you said you were doing international speaking, and now how have things changed for you?
I always say I have a master's degree in failure because I failed a lot. And so I have to learn to do Zoom. I've not spoken on Zoom, so that opened up, and so now I'm doing workshops via Zoom and doing lunch and learn during Zoom, or doing different groups during a Zoom session. And so I'm a work in progress, like we all are. I'm just learning as I go, and I was real hesitant at first because in my life I usually like to flow with like we are today with our sound system. You just flow with whatever life brings, and you get better results that way. However, I was resistant at first to use Zoom because I'm all about the human connection, and I felt like energetically I wouldn't be connected to my audience or my clients or whoever, and that's not true. Like I might not get to hug you because I'm a hugger, or shake your hand. However, it's still a way of connection. So I'm learning to grow with and flow with and learn as I go.
No, that's really interesting. And a couple of the recent things I've been reading about that just really flow into that, and it'll be interesting as people research and do studies, is one was about can people's extroversion be met in virtual space, and kind of categorizing, are you an extrovert where if I'm talking to you and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited, I'm talking to Darla, like this is great, right? My extroversion is being met, but maybe your extroversion is not being met. So are you a physical space extrovert, or are you a virtual extrovert, and can your needs be met? The other thing that is very interesting and closely related is if you've read about the love languages in the past, and when you look at the love languages, what's very interesting is if your number one thing is physical touch, you are not getting physical touch, you are not getting handshakes, you are not getting hugs right now. So how do you adjust to that? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I agree. And I've had to distance myself from the negativity on the internet, because that's how you connect now, or on the phone. If they're going to be all negative about this, I have to choose to surround myself with positive, or I just kind of hit that delete button, or I hit the pause button. I don't delete them. I hit the pause button and step back, and I notice what I'm noticing. How does it make me feel? And I am an expert, and that's so funny you said that about the love languages, because my number one is human touch. I am a hugger. I just love people. I love the energy of it. I am kind of an extrovert. I like the energy I feel being around other like-minded people. And and so for me, for instance, I went to a graduation party this year. One party during COVID. Otherwise, I've been pretty much locked down. And I did go to that, and it felt so good. But I was high on life when I got home, because I'm like, oh my God, I gotta hug people. I gotta be in a space with energetic, that vibration. And so for me, I have to say, I probably have been a little down in the dumps at times, not getting that love language met.
I think it's such important that we have awareness that we are in this new space, how and being aware that constantly we have to practice kindness to ourselves and kindness to others, because we don't know what that person's going through. We don't know, like, is this isolation something that's very hard on them, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe they're like locked in their house with their 4 kids and they just would do anything for a break. We don't necessarily know where people are today, and it's more important than ever to just have that kind of connection. And you have this book that really just kind of describes your journey, but part of it is you talk about this key thing, and I love this part, and you talk about intuition, and you talk about going with your intuition. Can you expand on that a bit for the audience?
Yeah, so when we don't, so intuition for me is my gut, or that nudge, or that universal, for me it's God. And so it's that voice that tells me, like, step back, there's a predator there, or someone's watching you, or go share your message with the world. And I've learned that when I get quiet, I can listen to that intuition more. So daily, I pay attention. If I notice what I'm noticing, so I make sure I block out time that I can pray, meditate, and do like a visualization every day. And when I do that, and when I get quiet, that intuition comes, and it's that God within, that spirit speaking to me louder, telling me my next steps, or what I should and shouldn't do, or maybe who I should hit the pause button on in my life. I told my the curtain a little and look, are they a good fit for me in my life, you know. So yeah, I think intuition is so vital to listen to. And so many people don't, or they don't know how. And that's where my passion comes in with helping people to uncover and giving them tools to, like, I would say the how does matter, because I am the how. Like, as coaches or leaders, we get to be the how. And if they want more, or they're not fulfilled in their life, well, how do I do that? They come to me, or they have a dream or goal, they don't know how to get those results. Let me show you. Like, let me give you these steps, and it shows you. Or my life isn't good, but something's missing. They don't know how to go within or listen to what is missing. And I get to peel back the layers of that onion and help them to see what that is. So, and that's part of intuition, and it's part of growing. And I don't have all the answers either, but I do have a really good system that gets great results. And so, yeah, can I say something real quick too about whoever's watching this, comment in the comments, because at the end of our thing I have some giveaways, and they're going to people who comment and interact with us on social media. So I just want to share that real quick. Like, I want to hear what nuggets are you getting? Share some things that you have about intuition or dreaming again, or your love language, or how COVID affected you. I'd love to hear. I love hearing people's stories.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of comments right now. We'll probably get a lot more comments once it goes into the recording phase. Unfortunately, I did see where Michelle wrote, "Is Darla's mic muted?" I moved the phone as close as I can. And for those of you out there, we had some technical difficulties. I'm not sure why. This is the second time today where the person on the other end could not hear me. I can hear them just fine. So we went ahead and used my phone as a speakerphone to try to just make the interview happen. And it's some sort of weird technical anomaly. But Darla and I just said, hey, we've got to, the show has to happen, right? So we're kind of getting close to the end of our segment here, Darla. And my question for you, is there any last pearls of wisdom that you want to leave for the audience?
As you go through this life process, or you go through COVID, or whatever it is you're going through, for me, something that's really worked in my life is, I call it trusting the process, and just the process of life. Like, universally, it usually works out, right? And another thing I like to say is notice what you're noticing, because where energy, or where attention goes, energy flows. And so just be aware what you're thinking. And then a third nugget maybe would be clarity is power. And once you get clear on what it is that you need or want, or to dream again with your life, you get your power back. And so that's some little nuggets I would like to share.
That is so wonderful. So, Darla, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to end this broadcast. I just want to thank you so much for being here and for working through the technical difficulties. I know we did our task, but like you said, like, even though the test went great, this, had its technical difficulties, but we overcame it. And that's what life and really the message of your book is all about, is maybe our technical issue is broken, but we went from broken to beautiful. So thank you, Darla.
Yeah. And I would love to offer, starting tomorrow for 24 hours, I'm offering my book on Amazon, the Kindle version, for free for 24 hours to any listener. I don't care if there's 1,000 or 1 or however many. If you would love a copy of the Kindle version, then make it free for 24 hours tomorrow. If you're a paperback person, connect with me on my website, Darla International, and I would love to give you a signed copy for half off for the next 24 hours as well. And I also do offer complimentary clarity calls if you are unclear in an area of your life and you just want some clarity on that. Reach out to me, and I would love to connect with you.
Darla, those are such generous offers, and let's make sure that we put those in the comment sections on the page, and that would just be awesome.
Okay,
great. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care, guys.